Hey everyone, it's Click Art Reviews, and today we'll be taking a look at the Suicide Squad DC Multiverse Deadshot figure. Now, a quick thing before we get this review started. You may notice that I cannot fit this entire figure into the frame. It is because this figure is massive. This is a huge figure, and I may not be able to fit the entire thing in the frame as long as it is in the box. But after we take a look at the packaging, I hope you'll be able to see it. I have not opened this figure yet. I have been holding off on this review for a while. So let's get started. And as always, let's take a quick look at the packaging. On the front, there are a bunch of choking hazards and warnings. See a nice display of the figure. There's a nice picture of Will Smith as Deadshot. There's DC Comics there. It says Suicide Squad Deadshot, Suicide Squad for the adult collector, which sounds kind of weird. Suicide Squad, red, and then on the top, DC Comics Multiverse. And on the back, there's a picture of Suicide Squad, Joker, Harley Quinn, bunch of warning labels, blah blah, a picture of the figure, and DC Multiverse. On the other side, there is a nice picture of Will Smith as Deadshot, and Suicide Squad, Deadshot, and Suicide Squad. Alright, now let's crack this guy open and take a look at him. Alright, here is Will Smith's Deadshot opened up and out of the packaging. And looking at this figure, he's pretty nice. There is some issues I have with the figure, and there are also some good things about the figure. Let's get into that, but first, let's talk about the accessories. Alright, here are the two accessories that come with the figure. They're just two guns. This is Deadshot's main gun. His main sniper gun also works as a other gun, non-sniper gun. It's got some gold paint smudging here, which I'm not a big fan of, but it has a Deadshot logo there. And it's just a very, very, very loosely painted gun. It's a weak on the paint details. On this side, there's not really anything here. I like the scuffing detail, but I think that is just a mistake made on the paint. There should be written here, "I am the light, the way," or whatever it is in the film, I forget. But it's not, and this is like a very weak piece. I feel like this gun is not very good. I mean, it's a good sculpt, amazing sculpt, but the paint detail is lacking, which is I guess a common theme in the DC Multiverse, as you may know if you have picked up any of the other figures. And the sculpt isn't even painted, and this is overall a very weak gun. It's okay for the figure though. I'm not gonna let this be my judgment for the entire figure though, just by looking at the gun. I have barely looked at the figure. Looking at this came in the package bent. It is made of soft plastic, and it bends like this. I don't know. This is not good at all. The sculpt is a bit weird. I don't know what this is. And the paint detail, there's no paint detail whatsoever. This is just a molded gun. A molded gun that is off to the side like the Leaning Tower of Pisa. And this is not very good. I don't like this at all. This is not a good gun. That's why I'm going to keep it in the holster the entire time. There are no other accessories to Deadshot, so now let's take a look at the sculpt, the paint details, etc. Alright, now let's take a look at the paint details, etc. Like I said just a few moments ago. This figure, it seems like it is made of hollow plastic. It is very hollow. This is... I don't know what to say about this figure. I was expecting a lot more. I mean, I guess the face does look a lot like Will Smith, and I compliment DC Multiverse and Mattel for making this good head sculpt. But there's not much paint detail on this. It's just enough for it to be a Deadshot figure, but otherwise it is not enough paint detail. I do like the sparkly paint on these wrist guards, however, and I think the face is okay painted. Otherwise, the paint detail, there's not much to say about the paint detail within this Deadshot symbol there, which was actually way smaller in the film. And I am the light, the way, which was not present on the gun. I overall don't like the paint detail. I wish I could have put a lot more into this. But for a $15 figure of this size, I guess that's all they could do. I don't know. I don't know. Now let's take a look at the articulation. It bends at the elbow, and it bends also almost back to the elbow, and it has elbow swivel, which is very strange, and it goes forward and back, as I said, on the other side as well. There is a wrist swivel. There is no joint here, as you would expect. And there's no joint here, which is very sad. This goes up, but the articulation is hindered because of the armor, which is not very good. I was expecting more from this figure. And the arm goes forward. It's a swivel. It goes 360. It goes down a little bit, goes forward a little bit, swells on the other side. This has a waist swivel, goes 360 all the way around. The leg kicks all the way up, not really all the way up. It is hindered by these bullets, and it goes to the side, but it's hindered by bullets again. And there's a huge gap here, which I am not very fond of. And there is also a gap here, also not very fond of. This is a weak articulation. It's not very good articulation. I'm sorry. I don't like this articulation that much. It's an okay figure, but the articulation is very lacking. I would have rather had more articulation on this figure. And the head does attempt to go 360, but I feel like it is hindered because the joints are a bit too tight, and I do not think I can loosen them. Alright, taking a look at the sculpting. The sculpting is good, actually. The sculpting is the best part of this figure, I feel like. So I rather liked Suicide Squad. Suicide Squad was good. Most people would say they didn't like Suicide Squad, but I like Suicide Squad a lot. As well as the sculpting on this figure. The wrist locks are nice, or wrist magnums, whatever you want to call them. They're nice. They're nicely sculpted. This entire figure is very good, like very nicely sculpted. I do enjoy everything on this figure that is sculpted, except for maybe the boots. They look like there was too much paint on them, and the laces are a bit faded, but otherwise it is a fine sculpt. I really enjoy this armor sculpt. It is very close to the film. The Will Smith head sculpt, as I said earlier, is an amazing head sculpt. You can take a better look at it here. And as I said, I am so sorry you could not see the entire figure. This is a very big figure, and my camera is not going all the way up to see it. I like the scratches and the scuffing on the back of this to make it look more worn, which it does in the film. But the paint detail does not make it look like this. But the sculpting is really nice. I enjoy the sculpting. I also enjoy these wrist guards because they are very accurate to what was seen in the film. I actually cosplayed as Deadshot for Comic-Con, and all of this was almost present on my costume, and I would know the costume of Deadshot because I cosplayed as him. And these knee pads are pretty good. I wouldn't say I remember these parts in the film. I remember these, but not those. I also don't remember him having a knife in the film, but it just adds to the figure. I feel like the bullets, I don't think he had this many bullets in the film, but I'll roll with it because it is a action figure and they don't have to be too close to the film. But in terms of film action figures, I expected way more of this figure. I don't really like it so much. You can see this is probably a very short review because there's not much to say about this figure other than for the price is okay. I'm kind of disappointed. Alright, let's take a look at the size comparison. I don't know what else I can use for such a big figure. I'll try and find something. And here is Deadshot compared to my latest review, Jyn Erso and Kylo Ren. And these figures are very small compared to Deadshot. Deadshot is a very big figure. I feel like I would have rather had him smaller. And I know there is another one which is a smaller figure, but they use the exact same sculpt for just a figure that is just bigger. And I don't think that was necessary. I would have rather they had like better things for a bigger figure, but it is just the tiny figure just made bigger. And I don't know. I'm not a fan of this figure. I bought it. I like it kind of, but not a very big fan. It is in good comparison, I guess, to the other figures, just because of their size. I mean, they are from a entirely different set, entirely different film. So I really can't use anything from that. But I don't have any other DC figures. I don't think so. There's nothing really much I can do. Now, overall, I'm going to give this figure a 4 out of 10. Because the paint details are weak, the articulation is weak, the sculpt is great, but you cannot get the figure. I mean, it's not worth spending a lot of money on. For $15, I mean, what are you going to expect from a figure of this size? But I kind of did expect more from this figure, and I'm very sad that this does not have as much things as I liked. This is not normal for me to say about a figure. I usually like all the figures I buy, but this figure is like on the bottom of my list. I don't really like this figure that much. So do I recommend you get it? Sure. I mean, it's not so terrible that you shouldn't touch it at all. I mean, get it, sure, whatever, but I personally am not a big fan of this figure. For Articulated Comic Book Art, or ACBA, I would not recommend this because you cannot get into many poses. It stands up fine, but it is a struggle to try and get it to stand up, which I think you wouldn't want if you were trying to do ACBA. You'd want it to be very sturdy and easy to pose, but not this figure. This figure is very difficult to get up, and it does not have a lot of posability, so for ACBA, I'm going to give it a 2. Because it's not like I'm going to make you not use it for ACBA, but if you really want to do ACBA, I wouldn't recommend using this figure. Hey, I hope you guys enjoyed that. Please remember to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to this channel if you enjoyed that video. Did I already say that? And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.